let's not be dense. The Fever front office realizes the caddy connection belongs back in Indianapolis next season. There's a lot of pomp and circumstance around Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull serving as Caitlin Clark's caddies during that golf event. It shows you the rapport, the chemistry, not to mention that those two can play, right? Lexi Hull has that energy you just can't teach, can shoot the ball, moves without the ball, a glue type of player. Same thing with Sophie in a sense, just in a different ways. She can really shoot the ball from the outside, can handle the ball a little bit, is versatile. They're not Aaliyah and Kelsey Mitchell.
Sophie Cunningham's comments about the CBA were twisted the moment they hit the public, sparking a firestorm of speculation about her future with the Fever and her relationship with Caitlin Clark. But this wasn't a player hinting at leaving. It was a blunt, honest warning about the league's unstable foundation, a reminder that nothing, not even the sport's most electrifying star, is immune to the uncertainty surrounding the next collective bargaining agreement. The Fever's silence only fueled the chaos, allowing false narratives of wavering loyalty to grow. Cunningham and Lexi Hull were unfairly painted as unsure, when in reality their connection to Clark had never been stronger. The real battle was much bigger than any locker room rumor. This misinterpretation set the stage for drama no one saw coming.
One could see things getting worked out based on the past. Both Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull will be back. But Cunningham keeps getting asked about it, right? Like, she keeps getting asked about it. I think especially after that one podcast episode where she said she wants a bigger house and stability and all that in her next contract. And she was asked about it on the golf course, and this is what she said.
I think she just elevates everyone who's around her. She's a phenomenal player, generational player, and I think everyone sees that. We missed her out on the court this year, but depending on the CBA and what's going on, hopefully we're all together again. But I think
the Fever front office isn't clueless. They recognized instantly that the caddy moment at the golf event was pure gold, a public showcase of the natural chemistry between Sophie, Lexi, and Caitlin Clark that goes far beyond basketball. This wasn't just a fun photo op. It was a powerful signal of genuine connection, the kind of bond that drives team cohesion and energizes a fan base. Those images of them supporting Clark, sharing laughs, and moving in sync told the franchise everything it needed to know. These two players are indispensable. Anyone who understands the modern WNBA landscape could see it. This was more than friendship. It was foundational chemistry.
He's just being healthy, which we all saw, right? If they were healthy, I think the Fever win the championship. I do believe the Fever win the championship. Then she was asked, what are your feelings as far as the likelihood that you're back with the Fever next year? She said, we're all still keeping in touch, but obviously there's not a lot. There's really not a lot to talk about on there and our end until there's a CBA. That one sentence right here could read a little awkward, but really all she's saying is there's not much they can do until there's a CBA. And then she's asked about the negotiations. I think the last meeting was about 2 weeks ago. She's not sure exactly where they're at, but they're standing strong for what they want, and so on and so forth. She was even asked about...
Beyond the viral golf moment, Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham provide real on-court value that extends far beyond their growing connection with Caitlin Clark. Lexi's energy is relentless, an engine that never cools, paired with sharp off-ball movement, disruptive defense, and dependable perimeter shooting. She's the definition of a glue player, someone who amplifies the impact of every teammate simply by playing her role with precision. Sophie brings a different but equally essential skill set, a steady outside shot, capable secondary playmaking, and a calm, composed presence that stabilizes any lineup she's part of. They may not have the national spotlight of Aaliyah Boston or Kelsey Mitchell, but their contributions are foundational. Together, they supply the depth, balance, and competitive backbone every championship caliber roster needs.
The meeting was about 2 weeks ago. She's not sure exactly where they're at, but they're standing strong for what they want, and so on and so forth. She was even asked about Project B, and she said, there's a lot said on social media, but if people are going to be paying you multi-million dollar deals, why would you not? So, look, the Project B thing is a whole separate aside and talking point, which we've gotten into, and I know people think like they're going to throw all this money at Caitlin Clark. I would be absolutely stunned if Caitlin Clark is participating in Project B. I'll admit if I'm wrong, but I would be absolutely stunned given her current financial situation and the players that have signed there. It seems so far
The unspoken but undeniable factor securing Sophie and Lex's return is their relationship with Caitlin Clark. At this point, Clark isn't just the face of the Indiana Fever. She is the franchise, carrying a level of influence that naturally shapes front office decisions, especially when her preferences align with obvious competitive advantages. If Clark signals she wants them back, and every public moment, from the golf outing to their on-court chemistry, suggests she does, it becomes a priority. Assuming the logistics work, the Fever aren't about to ignore the wishes of a generational superstar, particularly when those wishes strengthen team cohesion. Clark's implicit approval isn't subtle. It's a powerful, franchise-defining force. Her endorsement means everything.
And talking point, which we've gotten into, and I know people think like they're gonna throw all this money at Caitlin Clark. I would be absolutely stunned if Caitlin Clark is participating in Project B. I'll admit if I'm wrong, but I would be absolutely stunned given her current financial situation and the players that have signed there. It seems so far to me like it is players closer to the end of the career getting the bag that they weren't going to get in the past, and then Project B's fighting back against all the Saudi-backed stuff out there. We'll see how it develops. It's certainly intriguing to watch. Then there's also Unrivaled, which seems to be targeting the players on the come up, right, from college and that sort of deal.
Lexie Hull's status as a restricted free agent gives the Fever a major strategic advantage, effectively placing her future entirely in their hands. Because the team can match any offer sheet she receives, the Fever maintain full control over whether she stays, no matter how aggressively another franchise tries to lure her away. This built-in leverage makes outside threats to her departure minimal at best. And considering Hull's value, her defensive versatility, her reliable energy, and her growing chemistry with the team's centerpiece, Caitlin Clark, the front office has every incentive to use that control. Her restricted status makes retaining her not just likely, but almost inevitable. It's a crucial element that all but guarantees Hull remains part of the Fever's plans next season.
My takeaway is that barring something game-changing, no season because the players are locked out, or a CBA structure that is so drastically different that it makes it prohibitive for the Fever to somehow to get all these players back and under the cap, there's no chance that Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull aren't back. Lexie Hull is a restricted free agent, which means the Fever they can match any deal she gets. And Sophie so obviously has benefited from her time playing next to Caitlin.
Sophie Cunningham, far from being naive, clearly understands the massive career boost that comes from playing alongside Caitlin Clark in Indianapolis. Her visibility, marketability, and overall value have skyrocketed, making the Fever the ideal place for her continued professional growth. While she has mentioned wanting a bigger house and long-term stability in her next deal, those comments reflect broader concerns about the league's financial structure and the upcoming CBA, not any desire to walk away from the team that helped elevate her profile. Sophie knows exactly what she gains by staying: a premier spotlight, competitive opportunity, and the brand-building power that comes with being connected to Clark. Her intentions aren't uncertain. They're calculated, strategic, and clearly aligned with returning.
Obviously has benefited from her time playing next to Caitlin Clark and Indianapolis, and she's clearly no dummy. And she's a good fit. And then again, Caitlin Clark is happy to have them as caddies, right? Caitlin Clark is the organization. She is the franchise. So if she communicates something that she wants, as long as it's possible, it's going to get done. And then again, I don't think the front office is even dumb enough for that to have to be a top. Like, it doesn't need to be hammered home. They know it. You look at the social media account, knows it. Shout out to the best caddies. That was just posted. There's Caitlin.
The public perception shaped by the Fever's best caddies posts was no coincidence. It was a deliberate strategy to reinforce the bond between Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull, making it clear these three are essential to the franchise. Those viral photos of them laughing and enjoying the golf course weren't just fun content. They were calculated signals to fans, and more importantly, to the players themselves. The organization wanted to affirm their value, highlight their chemistry, and show appreciation publicly. The front office understands exactly what those optics accomplish. They build loyalty, boost fan engagement, and elevate the Fever's brand. Social validation isn't accidental. It's a tool, and the Fever are using it masterfully.
What Sophie and Lexi did in that moment to caddy for another player, even as a joke, and come in like we're supporting, we got the Fever stuff on. So, understanding the way that the solar system works in not only the WNBA, but around the Indiana Fever, with Caitlin Clark being the sun that the planets are revolving around. But it takes a certain level of understanding it, and that's important for team building, right? Because players have to accept roles, players have to be of a certain character, and it does seem that the Fever have made it a point to bring in high character players, to the point where Stephanie White...
Sophie Cunningham's repeated public comments, whether on podcasts, interviews, or even casual conversations on the golf course, kept circling back to one central theme: the unresolved CBA. Her seemingly non-committal stance was never a signal that she wanted out of Indiana. It was an honest acknowledgement of a league-wide uncertainty affecting every WNBA player. She wasn't hedging. She wasn't distancing herself from the Fever. She was simply voicing the same reality the entire league is facing. Until a new collective bargaining agreement is finalized, almost no player can make firm long-term commitments. It's a situation far bigger than Sophie Cunningham or any single team, yet that nuance was lost on many. The result? Misplaced concerns about her loyalty, when in truth, she was articulating a shared concern felt across locker rooms league-wide. Context matters, and in this case, it changes everything. During the interview, Sophie made another point that was widely overlooked: her belief that a fully healthy Fever team would have won the championship. That comment alone says more about her commitment to Indiana than anything else. This wasn't the perspective of someone with one foot out the door. It was the conviction of a player who believes deeply in her team's core, chemistry, and ceiling. Her emphasis on health being the only missing ingredient shows that she sees the Fever's path to a title as clear and achievable, and that she sees herself as part of it. With Caitlin Clark at the helm and a solid foundation around her, Sophie's confidence in what this group can accomplish together shines through unmistakably. That is not the mindset of a player looking to leave. It's the mindset of one determined to finish what they started. Sophie's broader engagement with league issues, like her pragmatic remarks about Project B and the evolving world of women's basketball economics, has also fueled unnecessary speculation. Her point was simple: if athletes are being offered multi-million-dollar deals, of course they should consider them. That is not an endorsement of leaving the WNBA. It's a realistic acknowledgement of financial opportunity, especially in a sport where fair compensation has historically lagged far behind. She's speaking as a forward-thinking professional who cares about the future of all women athletes, not as someone scouting for an exit. Her perspective shows maturity, not uncertainty. It reflects a player navigating a rapidly changing ecosystem while remaining fully committed to her team. All of this is compounded by the CBA negotiations themselves, probably the biggest headache the league is facing right now. With new leagues like Project B and Unrivaled entering the landscape, the environment is more complicated than anything the WNBA has seen before. This isn't a simple negotiation. It's a crossroads moment for the entire sport. In this climate, players choosing not to speak on individual contract specifics is not suspicious, it's normal. Sophie's repeated, "We'll see once the CBA is done," is not a dodge. It's the truth. This is a macro issue affecting everyone, from rookies to all-stars. Her comments aren't about her relationship with the Fever or Clark. They're about the structural framework that must be settled before anyone can move. Recently, the negotiations have entered an unusually quiet phase. No public back and forth. No heated statements. No looming sense of crisis. For those following closely, that silence is actually encouraging. It suggests that meaningful discussion is happening behind closed doors, a stark contrast to the kind of stalemate that would signal a lockout. With the draft lottery approaching and teams preparing as usual, the vibe feels far more like calm progress than collapse. This quiet momentum is exactly what teams and players like Sophie and Lexi need in order to finish their contracts and move forward. There's real optimism in the air. That optimism underpins the speaker's belief that, barring a catastrophic meltdown, like a full season lockout or a CBA so restrictive it makes roster building impossible, there's virtually no scenario where Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull are not returning to the Fever. The confidence behind that statement is clear. All operations, intentions, and logic point toward their return being inevitable. The only legitimate threats are league-wide structural failures, not personal decisions or team player disagreements. In every meaningful way, their reunion with the Fever is expected. Their return is not just likely, it's the overwhelmingly logical outcome. This fits perfectly with the Fever's long-standing strategy under Stephanie White, who has consistently prioritized high-character players in team building. The shopping cart analogy speaks to this exact approach, selecting athletes who fit a specific culture, who complement the locker room as much as the stat sheet. Hardship players like Ari McDonald proved that this philosophy works, bringing in competitors who blend seamlessly with Indiana's values. Sophie and Lexi fit this identity effortlessly. Their willingness to embrace supporting roles, even as public caddies for Caitlin Clark, reflects humility and a team-first mentality that the franchise values immensely. Of course, it's not just the cute optics of Cunningham and Hull joking about being Clark's caddies that guarantee their return. Their on-court value is undeniable. The Fever's potential death lineup of Clark, Sophie, Lexi, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, though undersized, stretches the floor in ways few WNBA teams can match. Their movements, spacing, shooting, and feel for Clark's game create an offensive ecosystem that maximizes everyone involved. Their chemistry is not accidental. It's a tactical advantage. They make Clark better, and Clark makes them better. That synergy is not easily replaced, and the Fever know it. The solar system analogy captures the dynamic beautifully. Caitlin Clark is the sun, and players like Sophie and Lexi orbit her with perfect understanding of the new hierarchy. Their decision to caddy wasn't just a joke. It was a recognition of Clark's gravitational pull and their own willingness to embrace roles that help the team succeed. This kind of role acceptance is vital in building championship-caliber teams. It prevents ego clashes, keeps locker rooms stable, and allows stars to thrive. Their humility and self-awareness are as valuable as their shooting and defense. Another telling sign: neither Sophie nor Lexi has been publicly pushing for leverage in CBA discussions or hinting at dissatisfaction. If they were unhappy or planning to leave, you would hear it. Instead, they consistently defer to the broader league situation and speak positively about the Fever. That quiet confidence says more than any public statement could. Their lack of drama isn't absence, it's assurance. And then there's the final undeniable factor. Everyone involved wants the same outcome. Caitlin Clark wants Sophie and Lexi back. The Fever front office wants them back. Sophie and Lexi themselves want to return. When all three parties, star player, organization, and athletes, are fully aligned, the outcome becomes almost inevitable. The only missing piece is the CBA, and once that is resolved, the contracts will fall into place quickly. Their return is essentially a formality waiting on paperwork. The belief that a fully healthy Fever team, including Sophie and Lexi, can win a championship is not empty optimism. It's a realistic evaluation of their roster's potential. Their versatility, chemistry with Clark, and ability to strengthen the team's depth make them essential pieces on a title-caliber squad. Their importance increases when you look at how their presence elevates the superstars around them. In a league where depth wins championships, their roles matter immensely. The Fever know it. Clark knows it. They know it. Despite all the noise, misinterpretations, and CBA-related uncertainty, one truth rises above everything else. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull returning to the Indiana Fever is not just expected. It is the natural conclusion. Their on-court skills, their chemistry with Clark, their character, and their understanding of the team's new identity make them foundational pieces. Their future in Indianapolis isn't a question of if, but when. Once the CBA is finalized, the reunion will simply confirm what everyone already understands. This group is meant to stay together, grow together, and chase greatness together. Their bond is bigger than a contract, and soon it will be officially locked in.